Alright, so are you new to Pharaoh? Or have you already been kicked out of a dungeon for low DPS? Well, this may be the video for you. Continue watching. Alright, so let's talk about the talents real quick. Obviously, Sabretooth, level 15. Wild Charge at level 25. Renewal if you want a extra heal on yourself. But Wild Charge will help you get around, get to those ads. Alright, level 30, you want the Balance Affinity. You want this for those extra 3 yards so that we can start attacking the mob 3 yards sooner. It also is a backup if you take Heart of the Wild in the next tier. That way you can actually attack from range in those rare moments that you absolutely cannot go up in melee. It'll help keep you from dropping that far in the DPS. Alright, level 35. Mighty Bash is what I've taken. However, I've noticed a good bit of the mobs in dungeons, and I'm not talking about the bosses or in raids, I'm talking about dungeons themselves, are kind of immune to Mighty Bash. Normally this right here will stop or stun a mob whenever it's casting an uninterruptible cast. And half of them that has not been working. So in level 35, if you're hard-headed like me, you go with Mighty Bash. But Heart of the Wild is probably still your better bet. Level 40, Soul of the Forest. You're really going to want that. That energy is huge. I've played with Savage Roar. It's just a little clunky. You run out of energy. You find yourself waiting on energy a lot. So Soul of the Forest level 40 is still my top recommendation, which I believe it is everyone's. Level 45, Brutal Slash for single target. Primal Wrath for like Mythic plus dungeons. And I want to state that on Brutal Slash, that is 1158 per target up to 5. So if it's one target, you're doing 1100 damage. If it's 2 targets, it's 2200 damage. You know, as a whole, but that's per target. That is not being spread between the mobs. Alright, level 50. Blood Talons is meta, from what I understand. It's simming extremely well. However, just below it is Feral Frenzy, which is what I'm going to take, or have taken, and I do recommend taking, as it's the easier one to do. It's the no thinker. You just use it, right? At the end of this video, you'll see the rotation, and you'll see where that fits in. So next, let's take a look at the Conduit that I recommend. Alright, so Taste for Blood, which as you can see I've got like the smallest version, but I just hadn't had that great of luck. Ferocious Bite deals 2% increased damage for each of your bleeds on the target. Normally you keep 2 bleeds on the target, Rip and Rake. Every so often you may put even Thrash. However, that is going to be 4% increased damage to what is already your #1 damaging ability. And that's why I would recommend Taste of Blood. There are other options, such as one that increases your Tiger's Fury and Carnivorous Instinct. That could be another good option, but that's only going to be good for every 30 seconds. However, Taste for Blood is good every time you attack, as long as you're keeping your leads up. Alright, so Legendary that I've picked, because I play all 4 specs, I kind of like goof with all of them, has been the one that every 45 seconds while in combat, cast a spell based on your form. Of course, if you're not in a form, it's Wild Growth, which is of course the heal. Now these do not use your cooldown, your global cooldown, or anything on these. These are just, they just go, they just do. You still have yours available to use whenever you want to use it. Cat form, you get Primal Wrath, which of course is the one that we state is good for Mythic pluses. However, this is every 45 seconds, so it's not dependable on going when you want it to. As a tank, it's kind of nice to get a free Bark Skin every 45 seconds in combat, as a Bark Skin is something you normally use during hell moments. This right here is just going to happen, and you still have your cooldown available. Starfall for Boomkin, of course, Stampeding Roar for Travel Form, which does work on the people around you, just like Stampeding Roar normally does, again without burning the cooldown. Alright, so other legendaries. The one that I'm going to aim for would be Apex Predator's Craving. Rip damage has a 4% chance to increase. Chance to make your next ferocious bite free and deal the maximum damage. These are just free ferocious bites without using the 50 energy. So you'll get to keep your energy, and that way your rotation will be able to spin right on through, and you won't feel any bumps because of the energy. You won't be losing any. Frenzy Brand is another okay option, but we're talking that be only worthwhile in raids, and I would talk about heroic and higher. So I would still just say the Apex Predator to be the #1 option for Kitty. Alright, as far as stats are concerned, I recommend stacking Mastery. From my understanding, at 35 you start getting diminishing returns, 35%. So I would say Mastery at 35%, and then I would probably go with Crit if you're looking for the DPS. However, Haste may be the more stable DPS, but I do believe it will be just a smidge under Critical Strike. As you can see, I don't have my rings enchanted. However, I do have everything else enchanting. Weapon with the Sinful Weapon enchant, which is a single target damage increaser. Alright, as far as where do you use your Covenant ability? In my rotation, which you just seen, you'll use Ravenous Frenzy, or if you're with Bastion, you use it in the same spot. So Berserk, Tiger's Fury, and then your Covenant ability if you're with Bastion or Revendreth. If you're with the Fae, which I imagine most of you are, you'll want to use that where I use Feral Frenzy. You'll want to use it there, and after you use Ferocious Bite, use your Feral Frenzy and Ferocious Bite again. It's a very huge spike of damage. If you're with the Maldraxxus bunch, just use it like a normal dot, as that's really all it is. As a reminder to you Fae guys, Convoke, when you use it, if you haven't already used it, you haven't made it to that point, you're not playing yet, that is 5 combo points when you allow it to run the whole thing. And that's why you get to use Ferocious Bite again. You need to go to Frenzy and Ferocious Bite yet again. Alright, so that is my Feral guide. And I do hope that it helps you out, and I hope that it does find you well. Hopefully you've made it through the COVID pandemic. And enjoy Shadowlands. You guys take it easy.